We love New Order. We went to Bernard Sumner's 40th birthday party. So we went back to his hotel, me, Derry, and I was sat at this table. There was me, Derry, there was Bernard Sumner, the guy from the Pet Shop Boys. What's the main guy from the Pet Shop Boys called, the singer?
Neil Tennant.
Neil Tennant, and that Bartos bloke from the Kraftwerk. All just the five of us sat around this table. I was thinking, this is pretty cool, isn't it? And then Bernard was just telling me this story. He goes, "Oh yeah, my singer died, and then when we started this club, and I'm all just like, do you think I don't know all this?" Like, just,
Welcome. We are Neil,
Luke, and Dave.
340-somethings reminiscing on the runners and riders of 90s guitar music.
We look at the bands who soundtracked our youth on both sides of the pond and interview some of our heroes from the bands that defined a generation.
You'll hear about the good, the bad, and the ugly of 90s guitar music.
This podcast is Stupid and Contagious.
Episode 46 of the Stupid and Contagious podcast. We had a explosion in downloads last week. We still can't explain. It's good.
I think it's just one or two people just been, downloading all of them by mistake.
Oh, that's
Mistake.
The spirit. That's the spirit, Dave.
Yeah. Hey, thanks everyone.
So if you are watching this one, then please do give it a thumbs up. Watching or listening, get involved in the comments. And leave us a review. Do all that jazz. It all helps podcasts get found. Or not, according to Dave. It's just
a mistake. We do appreciate it, everyone. Thank you.
Dave, what's been going on in there? Oh, how's the dog?
So just to tell listeners that Dave delayed the start of this recording because of dog trouble.
Yeah, my dog had a nasty cut on his loins.
What? Stop saying weird stuff.
Well, the soft inner part of his thigh.
Oh.
Loin. Well, that's where he had his cut.
How'd he get that?
Must have run over a bit of, sorry, I've forgotten the word.
Bramble?
No, the wire.
Barbed wire?
Barbed wire, yeah. Sorry.
Like the, what was that film, Barbed Wire, with, what's her name from Baywatch?
Pammy.
Yeah. Pamela Anderson. Did you ever watch that? Don't call me babe. That was the tagline. Anyway, Dave, is Otto okay? He's an occasional star of the podcast.
No, he's all right. He's got some antibiotics. They couldn't sew it because it's infected.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
But he'll be all right. It's not that bad. But if you sew it up, then the infection remains in. You get an abscess.
At least it won't jump at me like a little fucker usually does. Luke, what's been going on over there?
Nothing to report.
You must have listened to something this week.
When he says that, something has happened. He's just not telling us.
What's that even mean? I've been reading, it's quite interesting, Futuromania. It's Simon Reynolds. It's like a collection of essays over the years on like electronic music and like what was supposed to be the future at the time and stuff. It's quite good. I've been reading that this week. Been listening to Ash today, the 1977 album. It's really good.
Yeah,
it's good. Trying to get them on.
Good. Yeah, I am trying to. We are talking. Yeah, it might happen. So I don't want to jinx it.
Not the moment to say I never liked them.
Not yet.
No, right.
Not yet. Wait until we get them on. And I've been listening to loads of, maybe inspired by last week's, I've been listening to loads of kind of female garage rock bands. Our friend Matt Jammy, listener, put me onto a good band called the Coat Hangers, and that sent me to my record shelves where I've got loads of like, do you know, like the White Stripes? They were on like this label called Sympathy for the Record Industry, and they put out loads of like female kind of garage rock bands in the early 2000s. So I've been digging into my collection of that, which I hadn't listened to for ages. So yeah, been enjoying that.
Cool.
Neil, no van updates.
No, I haven't even done any of that this week. Still a bit more insulated.
No ailments. I think people love listening hearing about ailments and disease and stuff like that.
I don't think they do.
They do. I do.
So, I did watch. Obviously, the football's in full swing, isn't it? Rubbish back to old England, wasn't it? It was the England of the mid 2000s where it don't play very well.
Yeah, I missed the second game. It was on at 1 a.m. over here, so it's a bit of a. I don't mind staying up a little bit late or getting up a bit early, but that's like right in the middle. So I missed that game.
Good one to miss.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't bother. Yeah,
Farewell to Scotland. They've gone.
that looked pretty dramatic.
Well, it got a penalty disallowed. It's a clear penalty.
I haven't seen it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that been going on. Weather's picking up here.
Oh man, it was like 33, 34 degrees over here today. It's
It's
really
getting
hot.
warm here. So Dave's jerkin's gone back into hibernation.
Yeah,
so
it's
that's-
23, yeah.
Right, let's get on to. We haven't even mentioned it yet. So this week we're talking to James from EMF. Trying to get him on for a while, but just diaries, scheduling and stuff. It hasn't happened, but now it has. So yeah, this week we are dedicated to EMF. Have you got a little rundown for us?
Yeah, of course. Okay, so EMF, which stands for
Well, I'm going with the original one.
yeah,
I'm not.
Epsom
Yeah.
Mad Funkers.
No, I'm not.
Epsom Mad Funkers.
I'm not having that one.
You're going for ecstasy, motherfuckers.
Well, I'm going with the one in the song.
Mm.
E for ecstasy, M motherfucker, F.
F
from
for
us
must
to
you.
you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
going with. But you know, Epsom Mad Funkers. That's what you
I mean,
want.
ecstasy, motherfuckers, better, isn't it? Yeah. Well,
So-
anyway, in the interview, you'll see. You'll get the definitive answer.
Yeah.
Have Wikipedia got a description?
See, this is a good thing about the internet. Rather than getting all your information from books, you can do it instantly.
Yeah.
It's not instant. It's taking you ages.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
If you know what you're doing, it's instant. They're an English alternative rock band. That's what they-
Alternative rock band. They're not at all, are they? I mean,
No,
I put
okay.
indie dance.
Yeah, I'd go for that. Indie dance crossover sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Although I did see them described in one interview as new kids on the block with attitude. I mean, they were 5 good-looking young lads, right?
I'm trying to remember what New Kids on the Block looked like, and they did sort of have the caps and stuff, didn't they? So there
Yeah,
is-
yeah. Puffer
is-
jackets and all of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do I don't want to piss him off by saying, yeah, they're like the Kids on the Block, but I get what whoever was saying. There's similarities in the look, I guess.
Okay, so they formed in the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire in 1989, so end of the 80s.
I want to live in Forest.
Oh, it's beautiful there. Yeah, Wye Valley, it's right next to that. And that's where they filmed Sex Education.
Oh, is
Ah.
it really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of the same sort of thing, Forest of Dean. They sort of
Okay, I
overlap.
can picture it now. Okay.
It's weird that Sex Education because it's filmed like it's in an American high school, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. It's brilliant.
But it's in England. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And it's got a
like
90s
it.
sort of vibe.
Yeah, I
to
do
it.
like.
Yeah.
They all have smartphones and stuff.
So the classic lineup, 5-piece, which is unusual, right? So today's guest, James, Ian, who's kind of along with James, kind of the main songwriter, guy called Mark, a guy called Derry, and a guy called Zach, who is long-term listeners will remember as the guy that could put an orange under his foreskin.
That's right.
That's right back to episode 1. Huh?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. So James explains it in the interview, but basically, yeah. So they're 4 school friends, them except Ian, and played in a band, and then Ian joined and became kind of the main songwriter with James, and EMF became a band properly, and yeah, that's how they started. He didn't tell. He told the story a little bit in the interview, and you'll hear it. But yeah, apparently, he was. Ian was coming back. He got dumped by his girlfriend, and who lives somewhere, and he was coming back. And on the way back, he met James, who he knew he'd met like before, and
Right.
James said, "Come to the Forest of Dean and hang out with us," and so he did, and he joined EMF, and they started writing songs.
Another
And
sliding doors moment.
that's the same door. And as he was on his way back and meeting James, he was composing Unbelievable in his head about the girl that had just dumped him.
How old was he? He must have been young because he doesn't look that old now.
Yeah, they were like 19, 20. Yeah.
1920.
They were 19 or 20 years old.
They're 104 years old.
God. Yes, Neil, they're 104. I won't give away the interview too much, but yeah, you know, Ian was kind of like the indie kid. James was like the dance kid, and they put it together, and you got EMF, you know?
It was a bit like Jesus Jones. They had a similar sort of, didn't they? Met in a pub. Another
Yeah.
sliding door sort of moment.
Yeah.
Over some shoes. Yeah.
Over some shoes.
There you go.
Yeah. So, unbelievably, see what I did there?
Oh,
Nice.
Nice.
Unbelievable was their debut single, which is crazy, right? It's their debut.
Yeah. I just remember when that come out. I loved it, but it was massive, wasn't it? It was massive. But it did sound very different. I think we talk about it a little bit. The way it was produced and stuff, it was very radio friendly, wasn't it? Very well produced.
It's such a weird, I'm listening to it today. It's such a weird combination of different sounds, isn't it? It really is. It's really unique.
There's a lot going on. A lot going on.
Yeah.
It's
a
really
masterpiece.
Good. It is.
It really is.
Oh,
yeah. So it's got like samples and stuff, and I've read an interview with Ian. He's talking about like it's got influence from like Spanish guitar and blues and the Doors and all of this, and yeah, it's a really complicated, really really interesting song, right? Dave, you're going to say you don't like it?
No, I love that song.
Yeah, leave Mega City 4 out of it.
So famously, it went number 1 in the US, and number 3 in the UK. So it went number 1 in America, but have a guess. What position did it enter?
137.
What does it go up to? 200? Billboard 200, isn't it?
Something like that. Well, I guess you got the Hot 100, but yeah.
71.
Oh, okay. In between. 87. And it gradually climbed up the charts. Which is amazing, right? It doesn't happen these days. But just imagine just like seeing that kind of that rise. And he talks about it in an interview, but it must be amazing to do, right? I loved it when singles did that. I remember John Peel used to talk about when he was a kid. He used to have like a board on the wall with bits of string. So if there was a single he liked, he would use the string to follow it going up and down in the charts, which is cool.
That's a bit weird, isn't it?
No. If you're John Peel,
it's the sort of thing he would do.
Dave, yeah, as long as it had like someone dying horrifically at the end, it'd be interesting.
He should have done a death graph.
But I thought that's really cool, following it with bits of string. So that's 1990. Debut album came out in 1991. Schubert Dip got to number 3 in the UK, 12 in the US. A few more singles, I believe. Children and Lies all did pretty well. And they became a huge success.
It's a strange thing to follow up a song called Unbelievable with a song called I Believe. They're quite
well, it did draw a bit of ridicule, didn't it? Wasn't it Mary Whitehouse experience that sent them up? Or am I mixing that up?
Possibly.
And then they also did a cover of I'm a Believer with Vic and Bob as well, just to add to the believiness.
So they did it on purpose.
I guess. Yeah. And they were basically like a pop act, right? So they were in smash hits. They were in smash hits before they were in like The Enemy and stuff. And they've talked about like they kind of resisted it at the time and they regret resisting it. You know, like their first audience was like teenage girls, and they kind of they wanted to be cool, and they kind of resisted it and pretended they weren't a pop band, and you know they should have just gone with it. You know.
Yeah, I mean there's a raft of that. Well, Jesus Jones. We keep coming back to Jesus Jones, but they were similar bands and they had a similar sort of trajectory because they were big in America too. But they're both bands full of good-looking young lads, right, from England. You know, might explain. Not saying that's the only reason for their success in America, but it might have something to do with it.
Apparently, Axl Rose was a fan.
Oh, really? Of what?
Apparently,
EMF.
of EMF, and he wanted them to open for Guns N' Roses, but I don't think they ever did it. But yeah,
Is that true?
that's what I read. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I read.
Well, we like Guns N' Roses and we like EMF, so why not? Yeah. Would have been good actually if they'd have supported him at that Wembley gig. Better than Soundgarden.
Yeah, more memorable. They had a bit of a controversy with their song "Lies" because it had a sample of John Lennon's murderer. I've forgotten his name. Mark Chapman.
Oh.
Mark David Chapman.
That's it.
And
Of him doing what?
Yeah. Speaking.
So this could be a bit controversial, right?
Mm.
But it's probably the only time I'm going to get to talk about it. But why is he still in prison? Like, no one else would be in prison for that long if they'd killed someone else. Just because he killed John Lennon, right?
I guess it's not safe for him to come out.
Yeah, but they released other murderers after a period of time.
Yeah, but he had mental health problems, right?
He's so high profile, isn't he?
Yeah, but that's what it is, isn't it? It's because he shot John Lennon.
Yeah. But it's not safe for him to come out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying I feel sorry for the guy, but well, okay, maybe I do feel a bit sorry for him now because it's,
Yeah, especially if he's got mental
a bit
issues.
like Charles Manson. He didn't kill anyone, and he was in jail till he died.
I don't think he was. That's a good example, Neil.
He didn't kill anyone.
Sure, but he was an evil cult leader.
So's Donald Trump.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and they should all both be in prison. Anyway, Yoko Ono wasn't happy, and she made them basically remove it from subsequent pressings of the album.
She never is.
Oh, she's great, Yoko Ono. She's amazing.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, she's cool, man. She's cool.
I had a good friend called Mark Chapman, and he was born same year as me, as us. And then 3 years later, that happens. And then what can you do? You're just condemned to have that name.
Now, remember there was a kid at school called Phil Collins. That's worse.
That is worse.
There must have been a few Adolf Hitlers, mustn't there?
There's no Hitlers left in the world.
Yeah.
They must have all changed their name.
Yeah, they have. They've all changed their name.
Huge success, etc. The second album, Stigma, came out in 1992. Didn't do so well. Yeah, I think it's great. Got to number 19 in the charts though, which is it's not bad at all. Couple of singles from it.
I obviously like that one because it's dark.
It's dark. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a darker, denser, more rockier sound, bit less dance, more guitars, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Good album.
Yeah. I think it's their best out of the three.
Yeah,
those first run of three. I think it's definitely the best.
Dave, have you heard Stigma?
Yeah, I like that one. I like the first one though as well.
Yeah, I like the first one, but Stigma's more my kind of vibe.
I think he does have a unique vocal.
He does. I was going to say that ages ago, but I thought I can't say that, so I didn't.
I've said it for you, man. I've said it for you.
He really has. Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has, definitely. A really good one.
Third album, Cha Cha Cha, came in 95. Didn't do particularly well.
No, that one passed me by, I think.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. They did have a top 3 hit, as I said earlier, with Vic and Bob with a cover of I'm a Believer, which I loved at the time, and I still think it's great. Yeah, but it was pretty much all kind of falling apart by then. So they broke up in 97. And they kind of all went their separate ways. Lots of interesting stuff. So James went on to do Cooler just briefly. They had a couple of 12 inches, basically, kind of a big beat band. He also worked with Bentley Rhythm Ace, as he still does. Who are, I think, great.
But yeah, they were great at Shine On. As I said, it was my highlight of the weekend. I'm not just saying that; they were great, really good.
And James had lots of solo albums and moved to the Yorkshire Dales, which we can talk about after. Married Rachel from Fluke. Do you remember that track, Atom Bomb? I was obsessed with that song for a while.
Yeah, I do remember
Atom Bomb.
I remember the band as well.
And became a school teacher, which he still does.
I like that.
Now, Ian, he went on to make a band called Whistler, who did pretty well at the time, if you remember, kind of the early 2000s. And he became a songwriter and producer for Beyonce and Shakira.
Okay.
And he won an Ivor Novello. He's had Grammy nominations, and he's like apparently like a bigwig at Epic Records.
I'm not going to let that go. Why did you say Shakira like you just said it?
Oh, how did I say it?
You went Shakira or something. You said
I
it really
didn't.
weird.
And you said it
Did I?
twice. Shakira, you said.
I think it's probably because it's
I got it, Dave.
I guess it's formed like a Japanese word, like Shakira. It's like
Right.
it's like a
Yeah, well, you
Japanese,
said
like
it like
phonetically
that.
Japanese. That's probably
You
why,
said it
just
like that.
accidentally. It's very
It
sounds
sounded
very
like
phonetically
it
Japanese.
sounded like you were doing that thing, you know, where people sort of talk in an English accent, and then they get to something foreign and they try and say it in that foreign accent.
Yeah, Barcelona, like that.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, it sounded like that. I
It
thought
was
I'd pull you up
completely
on it anyway.
unintentional.
So he did stuff with them.
Yeah, incredible, right? And apparently it's like
Yeah.
some like top executive at Epic Records, as well as being in
Brilliant.
in EMF as well. Zach of the Orange Under the Foreskin fame died in 2002 of a drug overdose. Very sadly.
I didn't know about that. That's sad. Yeah.
Yeah, he was only 31. They had like loads and loads of kind of mini reunions over the years. I think like 5 or 6 kind of attempts to kind of get back together. And then finally in 2002, they released Go Go Sapiens, their first album in 27 years, which is really good. And then just over a year later, another one, Beauty and the Chaos. Yeah, both good. Both got really good reviews and as good as anything they ever did, really. Yeah, so they're on a roll. And they're playing a double headline show with Jesus Jones in October. So if people haven't got tickets, get them now. And that's what they're doing. That's EMF.
They're currently in America as we speak.
Oh yes. I saw that on Facebook. There you go. So they're back. They're back and better than ever.
Let's have a listen to the interview and then we'll have a chat afterwards, shall we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Right, okay. So here's James Atkin from EMF. Enjoy. James, thanks so much for coming on. Where do we find you at the moment? How are things? What are you up to at the moment?
Well, you find me. I'm sat in my studio.
I see that. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. I've gone in. Yeah.
Outside there is the Yorkshire Dales.
Oh, nice.
Actually, quite a nice day. There's a little river at the end of the garden.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's good. The kids are playing outside, so they might be noisy. I've just told them off, so they should be okay.
That's all right.
But thanks for asking me on. What a lovely.
Oh, no, pleasure.
Appreciate it. Let's start with a new album. So we wait 27 years for a new EMF album, and there's 2 within a year. What's going on?
Yeah, that's quite bizarre, isn't it? Well, the first one, Go Go Sapiens, I mean, it was a couple of years ago now. I guess just to sort of test the water a little bit and see if there was a bit of interest out there. And also see if me and Ian could still pull it off. And it was a lovely experience. We did it all ourselves. We recorded it actually in this room.
Oh, nice.
We pressed it up ourselves. We released it ourselves. We promoted it ourselves. So it was great. And it was off the back of that, things kind of got exciting again. And then we went and did another album. And this time we brought in Ralph Jezard, who was our old producer, who did the first 2 albums. So we kind of went back on ourselves a little bit. And it's come together, surprisingly.
Yeah, well, I mean, were you nervous about putting? I mean, you've done solo stuff and stuff, but were you nervous about putting new EMF material out there after all this time?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't really feel nervous. I guess there was a bit of anticipation to see how it was going to be received. But I it's kind of just what we do. I mean, we're really lucky to be able to do that. I mean, obviously things have changed completely. It's never going to be like it was before. Obviously, we're not shifting in nowhere near as many records as what we were before. Financially, it's really hard to do because there is actually quite some costs in it. But it's paying for itself, which is all we can ask. And, we're very lucky to be able to do it, I think.
But it was really positively received, right? I mean, how did that feel when the positive reviews started coming in?
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good. Again, well, we just do what we do. There were some nice reviews. You're right, Luke. You're right. You have to play your own trumpet, isn't it? It's like, yeah.
Well, I know. Yeah,
That's
I'm
all right.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
How did the track with Stephen Fry come about, or how did he end up being on the track? Hello, people.
So it was a track that we've had knocking around for quite a few years. Me and Ian write songs continuously. We have for the last, even back in the day, for the last that 25-year, 27-year gap, you said. We kind of get together, we write songs, and usually they just get shelved or, left on a DAT or a tape that's how old these songs are. And we were going to put it on the Go-Go Sapiens, the album, a couple of years ago, but I wanted to hold off. So we put it as a starting track on this new album, and the kind of message was kind of about welcoming and like dispelling some of those myths about all the nastiness out there. We thought it'd be really nice to have a guest on it. And what we did, we got a Stephen Fry. It was a podcast, what he did called Facts Over Fear, and we cut it up, or we were just going to use it as like little sound bites and things, a bit like, like Tape Boy or something, just a little bit sort of. But then we sent it to him, and he loved it, and he's always been a real supporter of the band. So he kind of jumped on and gave us his support.
Oh wow.
It was a time when he just got the job doing, was it Jeopardy? I think he just got on TV. So I think he had to be a little bit careful of what promotion he did. So I think even though we had him on there, it was quite difficult because he couldn't really come in, because we got offered some great stuff like the Good Morning, the couch on Good Morning, but he couldn't do it like this new BBC show. And I guess he had to be a little bit careful, because not that it was contentious, but it was kind of, it could have, it divides people, that kind of thing, doesn't it? So I think he had to play it safe. So but it was great to have him on there. And he's such a great name.
Yeah.
And he got us some
amazing.
People talking about it, and upsetting the right people as well, which is even better, isn't it?
That's what you want.
Yeah. You say he's always been supportive of the band. Did you know him back in the day?
Yeah, funny enough, he has appeared on an EMF record before in the past.
Oh.
There's a record on the third album called Glass Smash Jack, and he came down to the studio when we were in London. Ian wrote a poem, and he recited this poem on this song, Glass Smash Jack. And that was the first time we met. Kind of sort of, stayed in touch. He's not a mate. I don't call him up or anything, but he's quite often in interviews when he talks about music, because he's not a great fan of music, but he always says he loves CMF, which is nice, isn't it?
Oh, that's good. That's cool, man. Yeah. That is.
How are the new tracks going down live? I mean, live is where you're best usually, right?
Yeah, brilliant. So much better on this album. I think this album we made a real conscious effort to try and write songs that were going to work live. And on the last album, because the album previously, we programmed the drums quite a lot. This time we actually recorded the drums properly, so already the songs had a live feel to them. When we went out on tour in January, we put about 5 staples in the set from the new album, but then every other night we'd throw another new one in there. So we got to play almost all the songs off the album, which is a really nice thing to do. But yeah, they're all up-tempo energy live, so that they work really well. But it was great. It's nice to not play the same songs you've been playing for the last 30 years.
Oh yeah.
Fresh.
It does keep it fresh. That's right. It's interesting what you said about the drums there, because we had a drummer on last week, and we were talking on the podcast about, Dave was saying, well, these days you can just sort of program the drums, but as you've just sort of explained, it's not quite as easy as that. It doesn't come across like it sounds like you can't really sort of emulate a drummer playing drums, right?
Unless you're a really good programmer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll let you into a little bit of a secret. What we did with the drums, because to get really good drum sounds, you've got to book a really nice studio that's got really nice console microphones. So what I did, drove down to Manchester and hired the new all singing and dancing electronic Roland drum kit.
Right.
Yeah. But then we set it up in here, and then when you play it, it's actually proper live drum sounds that sound
Yeah.
like they've been recorded at Abbey Road or something. You know, it sounds that
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
So we got the feel of the live
yeah.
drum, but we also got the sound of the live drums as well.
Yeah, it's like a hybrid. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
it's
it's cool.
electronic.
Yeah.
But I don't think you'd ever tell, and obviously it's saved us hundreds of thousands of pounds. That might That's an exaggeration. It certainly saves us a lot. And also because we recorded them in, we could actually they could have recorded as MIDI, so we could kind
Yeah.
of move around a little bit, and if we needed to, and the velocities and things like that. So it's the future, isn't it? That's what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, you've got to, I think you have to embrace new technology, you know. But it's nice to keep a bit of the old as well, you know. I think that's the balance, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You're definitely
Yeah.
right. Although I do
Yeah.
really like electronic music, I'm quite happy listening to an 808 drum machine all day long.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's we're the same. Can we take you right back to the start? How did how did EMF come together?
Right, we're going way back.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Sorry.
we were from a place in the West Country called the Forest of Dean, which was a really small backwater, back of nowhere area. Not a lot goes on there. The four of us, without Ian, went to the same school, and we were all nearly all in the same year, but we were all very close in age. We played in bands since we were like starting secondary school, since we were kids playing in sheds and barns and old village halls and things. So we knew each other really, really well. We played together for years. We had this idea for a band, me, Derry, and Zach. We already had the name EMF, and we had the vibe, we had the energy. We just didn't really have any focus.
Songs.
I'm going to say songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but all we used to do, I think we used to go to this little village hall, and they had like a jumble sale box. So we used to just dress up, smoke roll-ups, and drink coffee and dance around. And there wasn't much. Yeah, it wasn't really happening. But then by chance, I'd been working in Gloucester and I'd known Ian. And I says to Ian, I'll come down to the Forest of Dean. And Gloucester kids don't go to the Forest of Dean. That's how scary the Forest of Dean was. But he was passing through on a bus one day. We picked him up and he hung out with us for 2 or 3 days. And that was kind of when it was born. Ian says, yeah, I like your vibe. I like your energy. He kind of brought some clarity to it all. And we wrote 10 songs. Those first 10 songs were the first 10 songs we went out at gigs, and almost the first 10 songs that went on to Schubert Dip, the first album.
Wow.
So it was very instant, although we'd been playing together
Yeah.
for years. Bands. Yeah, so it kind of it was a brilliant time. It was probably the best time ever. It was such fun.
You said you had the band name early on, so can you give a definitive answer for what EMF really stands for? Can we finally get it on record?
Isn't it just ecstasy motherfuckers?
Well,
No,
I've
it's
seen
not.
various ones. It's not. It's not.
It's not at all, no.
So
But originally, Derry came up with the name, and it's Epsom Mad Bunkers.
okay,
That's what we've
there
got.
it is.
Yeah,
Sure.
there you go. EMF. It was like, I don't know. It's a strange one. I didn't think 30 odd years later I'd
You
be
have to explain it.
just, especially in my day job, because I had to go to school and work with
Do
kids.
you still teach?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But the kids asked me
Yeah.
to EMF for, and I'm just like, no, don't Google it.
Yeah. We can
But
direct them to this. They get the right answer then.
Yeah.
yeah, I'll direct them to this. But
Yeah. So you said you're playing in bands and stuff. So how did the sound come together? I was listening to the new album. You got that track on it. What's it called? Reach for the Lasers. You name check loads of DJs, Andrew Weatherall and John Digweed and all of that. I mean, is that a pretty good kind of selection of the kind of things that you were into?
Well, not really. I mean, when we first started out, we were just indie kids. We loved indie music, Smiths, the Bunnymen. We loved New Order. And just at that time in the late 80s, early 90s, was a real crossover. Discovered dance music, and I was like listening to Balearic. Like I found a Balearic tape of things like the Finny Tribe and Nitzer Ebb and all this kind of electronic music. I sat down with Ian because me and Ian used to get together at his mom's house, and he had like a very primitive keyboard and a piano, like a proper stand-up piano.
Hmm.
And we started writing some songs, and I was going, Ian, look, it needs to be Chicago house music. It needs to be Detroit techno. It needs to be, and there was lots of stuff going on. There was all that sort of soul to soul with grooves. It's all about the grooves.
Mm.
Ian was an indie kid, but he kind of got the dance scene. Um, if I'd kind of had my way, I think it would have been just an electronic dance band. But thankfully, Ian, because he was such a brilliant guitarist and songwriter, and
Mm.
he, you know, so we got that crossover, the indie guitar thing and the dance thing. And that's really how it was just a natural thing. Although there was lots of stuff going on around the country in Manchester, you know, with the Stone Roses and things like that. So that dance indie crossover thing was happening, but it kind of, it's not like we were says let's do that. It kind of just naturally happened. I guess it happened naturally to a lot of bands around that time.
I mean, what other bands were you hanging out with at the time?
Sorry.
What other bands were you hanging out with?
What, at that time?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't really hanging out with anyone at that time. There's only
In the Forest of Dean.
But do you know what? There was a few bands. I mean, Derry was really inspirational because Derry had his finger on the pulse, and he dragged us off to see bands. And obviously, I mean, it was the late 80s, so we were watching bands like Susie and the Banshees and things like this, which I kind of like goth music as well. I was a bit of a goth for a while as well.
Same here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I was all over Sisters of Mercy and things like that. But Derry had to see a band called Jesus Jones play in Exeter. And we didn't really have EMF together at this point, but Derry was kind of, check this out, look what's going on here. And that they were a really big inspiration to us. Although, and now, you know, we're playing with them in October. I don't know if
that's right.
Just saw you announce those, yeah.
So
brilliant.
It's a circle, really. I'm still going to wind them up and say they ripped us off, though, even though we ripped.
Yeah, do it.
And is
we
it
got
true?
to...
go on.
Go on, Neil.
No,
I'll cut.
No,
you go.
Fuck's sake. Is it true that that you signed to EMI after only four gigs? Is that urban myth, or is it true?
No, that is true. Yeah. Actually, we just did gigs in our local village. We did venture up to Gloucester once. But there was a bit of a buzz, and then record labels were interested, and they wanted us to go and do a showcase in London, and we refused. And so we said, look, if they really want to see us, come down and see us on our own turf, our own territory.
Yeah.
We used to play this pub, and it was notorious, called the Bilson, at the bottom of Cinderford, and it was like a real rough hole. But we used to play it. And, well, we'd only played it a couple of times, but it was honestly crammed. Because I think because we'd just come off the back of being at school and stuff, we still all had school friends, and so there was this little back room in this pub, and honestly, about 300-400 people would turn up, and it was rammed. People would open the windows, people climb through the windows, and then the record labels turned up. First of all, they had to pay their £1.50 on the door. They weren't getting in for free.
Yeah, fuckers.
So they saw us there, and I guess they saw something in us, and we had three majors kind of shopping for us: Virgin, Island, and the EMI, and we went for it.
I mean,
that's probably the best way to do it, though, right? Because playing in front of your own fans, the band's obviously going to play better, and you know they're going to see the buzz as it happens, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, it just seems natural and organic, doesn't it? I mean, I think bands are now, to a certain degree, like that. Is it a band called the Ride-Ons or something? And not many people know.
One,
we went to one of their gigs. I think it's it's supposed to be like a spiritual experience where the fans are going mad. Do you know what I mean? And that's got to look good, hasn't it? And it's got to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so it was a different time as well, I guess.
But what gave you the confidence to do that refusal in the first place? You've got to be pretty confident.
What, to get up on stage and sing?
No, to say fuck you to the record labels. Come to us.
Yeah,
I think we kind of just had that attitude that we were the greatest thing ever. way before Liam and Noel had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're young, you're a little bit carefree, aren't you? And you just kind of
Yeah.
not arrogant, but you know, you just think you're very much the center of your own world, aren't you? You think this is the greatest thing ever, and
Yeah.
maybe it's knocked off.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we had her from the Wannadies on the other week, and he was telling us a story how they got asked to support David Bowie on a European tour, and they just said no, and to this day they don't really know why. They said no, just
it's great.
because they go.
Just being young and a bit daft.
Yeah.
I went to a festival once. And I met David Bowie.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I just said, oh, actually, no. I actually met him and shook his hand. I was talking to my wife, Rachel, and Rachel, she was in a band called Fluke, my wife.
Oh,
And
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
Oh,
And
bum.
she was at a festival, and they went onto the bus, and they went, "Do you want to come and meet David Bowie?" And she went, "No, I can't be bothered," or something like that. Like now, it'd be like, "Oh my God!" It's just, I know. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's, you know, other things going on.
Yeah. Yeah. But we've got to talk about Unbelievable. So when it all kicked off, I mean, how mental did it get?
It was great. It got really mental really quick. We were on tour with a dance ski.
Oh,
It was
wow.
Oh, nice.
never
Yeah.
been on. Honestly, we were in a transit van, all in the back. I don't think we may have had a few bed and breakfasts at Miss Miggin's bed and breakfast, like, you know, proper low rent sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And within that 3 weeks of being on the tour, the record got released, and obviously I think the EMI machine must have got into working because we were on Smash Hits and all those kind of magazines. And then by the end of that 3 weeks, we kind of, it felt like we'd made it. You know, we were getting recognized on the street. Poor Adamski was kind of, he was really suffering because he had to go on stage after a set every night. He'll say, I'm still good friends with him. He'll say this now, but it was kind of, yeah, the success came quick.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not just here, but in America as well. Like that sort of shit never happens. Like it went #1 in America. Like
It did.
still very rare.
It was a similar thing as well, where we were out there on tour, because we went out there and did like a few little blocks, then we did like a 6-week tour, and then we do it again, another 6 weeks tour. And I always remember I had this postcard I was sending to my friend saying, "Oh, you know, we're number 90 in the Billboard," and then I'd cross it out, we're number 5, oh, we're in the top 20. And then, of course, by the time I got to post it, we'd actually gone like in the top 5, and then it went to #1 whilst we were in which is kind of insane. We were working, we really worked it. We were doing all the, you know, you turn up in a town, you'd have to do the radio, you'd have to go to the record, do a sign in, you do the gig, and then you'd have to do a meet and greet afterwards with all the local record executives and people who worked in the record stuff. And then you'd have to go and party all night long.
Yeah, that's difficult, right?
But you were like 20, 21, right? You got the energy, right, back then?
Yeah. I mean, I was 21. The members of the band weren't even old enough to drink when we were out there.
Oh yeah,
of course.
21 in America, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good times, and we had a really nice time because we were taking lots of British bands out with us as support acts. So this is when I got quite friendly with Stereo MCs and Pop Leet itself and Carter. Those bands that generation. So it felt really special, like a bit of a British invasion, really.
Yeah, why do you think that track resonates so much with the Americans? Because you know they don't tend to take to a lot of sort of, you know, British songs, maybe bands as they mature, but like they don't tend to sort of just pick up on a British song and take it to #1. So I wonder why do you think that they resonate so much with that song?
It's got a lot of elements in that song, because it's got like a hip hop groove. It's because the tempo is quite slow on it. It's 100 BPM, so it's not like, you know, it's not like a dance record. It's more hip hop, which is more American, isn't it? It's got a riff. So I guess like, because rock radios used to play it used to be a real crossover, but it's got a guitar riff in it. They love guitar rock, don't they, over there? Maybe that sort of British quintessential vocal delivery resonated. I don't know. I mean, pretty incredible, really, that it did so
It's
well.
a really well produced record as well, though, isn't it? It's a real sort of,
Bombastic sound, right?
yeah.
It's got it all going on. It's got samples in it. It's got yeah, it's got it all going on. Big bass line. Yeah, and that was
That's
Ralph
great.
Jenner, the last album. So again, really good. And that was the first thing we ever did with him.
I mean, what was it like when you first heard the finished track? Were you like, fucking hell, this is good?
Not really. I didn't really like it. Or it's not that I didn't like it. I just didn't get it. I didn't see the saw in it.
Wow.
Well, I liked it.
Yeah. It still pops up everywhere. I was watching a film 2 days ago called what's it called? Snack Shack or something. And suddenly Unbelievable comes on and it works great in the film. And, it just pops up everywhere still, right?
Yeah, it hasn't gone away, has it?
No.
It's just there. It's become. It's almost like one of my kids or something. It's just there, and it gets used a lot, which is brilliant. I mean, it's kept us going over the years. That has. I wish I had another 5 of those, and then be sitting on a yacht somewhere. Not
I mean, so that took off, but like you say, you'd made it. Schubert Dip came out again, super, super successful. You almost became like, a household name. I mean, did you enjoy being famous?
Not particularly, no. I said really meant no, no. I found it really hard. It just wasn't. It wasn't very natural for me. I bet, and the rest of the band had an absolute ball, and they loved it, and they partied around the world, and they really went for it. And I just had a big thing going on where, not that imposter syndrome, but just I think confidence-wise, it took me years to get my confidence, and I used to think my voice was awful. I used to think my stage presence was terrible, and just overthinking it. And that's my only regret. If I could just do it again, I just wish I just enjoyed it and just gone for it. And
I think a lot of bands say that though. It's
Interesting to
difficult
hear
at the
that.
time, isn't it? You get sort of swept up in it. They get the chance to really enjoy it.
yeah, and you get lost by it all. But it was a great experience. I loved being a pop star, but just the performing every night, and I don't know. It's really weird. I didn't like people looking at me.
But I get that.
Got any good? Yeah, Luke. Carry on, Luke.
No, I completely understand. Yeah, it's surprising to hear, but it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have got any celebrity stories that you can share from that time? You must have a few.
I last night, and this is a true story. It's not. I didn't play this last night.
Exclusive.
Oh, no. My kids. My kids have got to an age now. One's 16 and one's just 18 in a few weeks, and they watched 4 Hour Party People. You know the have you seen the Wilson film? And it's all about that.
Yeah.
And Sonny, my eldest, goes, "You ever been to the Hacienda, James?" And I was like, "Dad, don't call me James." But I said the one time I ever went to the Hacienda was EMF were playing in Manchester, and Noel Gallagher turned up at sound check, and he went, "Oh, come with me, James." And Noel Gallagher took me around Manchester because I knew Noel a little bit because he used to work for the Spiral Carpets, so we were a little bit
right.
friendly.
Yeah.
Took me to the Hacienda, and we walked around the Hacienda. It wasn't open, but they just let us in there, and I just walked around the Hacienda with Noel Gallagher. So I was trying to tell Sonny, my eldest, I go, "Yeah, I've been there to Hacienda. I've been there with Noel Gallagher."
Empty Hacienda.
So that was, but that's not very. Yeah, that's not very. There's a few.
Well, no, that's pretty rock and roll.
That's pretty cool, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's been some bits. There's been some times of the year. I remember where did I go? I went to. We love New Order. We went to Bernard Sumner's 40th birthday party.
Oh, nice. But that was good.
There he goes. I'll go and offer Bernard whatever in the toilets. I'm not going to go into too much detail.
No.
And he went, "No, but come back to my hotel." So we went back to his hotel, me, Derry, and I was sat at this table. There was me, Derry, there was Bernard Sumner, the guy from the Pet Shop Boys. What's the main guy from the Pet Shop Boys called, the singer?
Neil Tennant.
Neil Tennant, and that Bartos bloke from the Kraftwerk, all just the five of us sat around this time. I was thinking, this is pretty cool, isn't it? And then Bernard was just telling me this story. He goes, "Oh yeah, my singer died, and then when we started this club, and I'm all just like, do you think I don't know all this?" Like, just that was good. I felt great that night.
Yeah,
That's
that
quite
sounds
a
like
super group, though. That would have been a pretty good
Oh
super
man, you
group, right?
should have written a song. You should have written a
Yeah.
song right there and then.
Like, yeah. Derry's the person you need to ask, because Derry's always got really great stories. I think he is writing a book actually, so I'm looking forward to
Oh,
it.
we do like a book.
He remembers everything. He might have even kept a diary, I think. So, like Motley
Great.
Crue, but worse.
Right. Yeah. The Dirt Part 2. The second album was a bit less dancey, a bit more dark, a bit more serious. I mean, was that a conscious decision to kind of change your sound?
Not really. I think when we made the first album, we hadn't toured and we hadn't been together as a band going around the world. By the time we did the second album, we actually wrote a few of the songs on the road whilst we were touring. But by that point, we'd toured all over the world. We played together, every night, 4 or 5 times a week. So we were, as a band, we were really together and really tight. And I think naturally we just got in the studio and we had that heavier sound from just playing on stage every night.
Yeah.
Influenced maybe a little bit by being in America and listening to that American sound. Grunge was coming through a little. So yeah, I think just naturally we went that way.
Yeah, I do. I love that album, by the way, Stigma. I think it's a great album. Still one of my go-to albums. It's great.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what was the record company's reaction when you played it, when it wasn't an exact copy of the first album?
Yeah, they didn't like it.
They never do.
The first track there, here, the vocals start, and the vocals are through a distortion pedal. And I remember guys in America, the American reps going, but it doesn't sound right. The vocals are all distorted at the start. Is that supposed to be like that?
No.
And there wasn't any hits on there. And yeah, I mean, that's no that you say you really like it. I mean, in hindsight, maybe we should have just written a few more pop songs again, and maybe our career would have lasted a bit.
No, but like Neil said, I think the fans rate it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the one that the fans really like.
Yeah.
And people genuinely love that album. I get people just now going, that's one of my favorite albums. And I don't get that on the first album. It's only on the second album. So even though it didn't sell many or not enough. Yeah.
But it's still sold a shitload, right? It's just compared to the ridiculous success of the first.
Yeah, I wouldn't say shitloads, but it's sold. I mean, I've got some platinum discs on my wall, but they're all for the first album. No, there's not even a gold disc. There's not even a gold disc on the second album. It's like, so, yeah. Or a silver disc even.
Yeah. How many do you need for platinum?
1 million.
Fuck. Yeah.
That's a lot, isn't it?
That's a lot.
A lot these days.
Yeah. So, I mean, the band broke up, for the first time in 1995. What happened?
I can't remember. What happened? I don't know. I think, you know what it was? I think just it wasn't feasible to run the band, because after the third album, we got dropped by the record label, and you need finances to keep a band going. Strange enough. Wages, and also the interest of people, because if your record label's not interested, and then the management have moved on, and then certain people in the band have different ideas. We're very different people. I know Derek, he had another band going on. I had another band going on. Ian was doing lots of other stuff. I think we kind of just grew out of each other. Which,
yeah,
I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I think back then as well, it wasn't like now where you don't necessarily need a record label to to release stuff. Back then, you had to have one pretty much, right? You couldn't just do it yourself. It just wasn't a thing.
Yeah, that's completely right. You couldn't even record it yourself because it used to cost a fortune to make records, when now you can make it. Yeah, you needed promotion, you needed radio,
Yeah.
no social media, so there's no real way of
Yeah,
promoting.
there was none of that, right?
It's only like the big magazines like Enemy, Sounds, and all that sort of stuff, and you needed press agents to get in there. So yeah, maybe that's that. I think that's probably why we've managed to get it together in the last couple of years, because you can't
got that
now.
Yeah, the infrastructure's there.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe that's a big, has a big part to play, right? Because there's a lot of sort of 90s bands that are, like, Shed 7 are back at it again, but I know they've got a record label and stuff, but yeah, having the means to directly talk to your fans on social media, that's massive, right? That's huge.
Yeah, it really is. And you forget that you got a fan base and you can build on it again, because the loved you back in the 90s, and that nostalgia thing is really important as well. People kind of get a kick from that. So, hopefully we're generating new fans in that, but there's definitely a lot of fans that were there back in the day. Yeah, just promoting yourself with social media.
Yeah,
So,
it's big.
difficult. I mean, I don't know how new bands do it, because it is actually saturated out there. Saturated.
Oh, yes.
So
Yeah.
it must be difficult. And also doing it for the right reason, because financially it's not worth doing these days. I mean, every time we tour, we lose money. We sell off records to pay for themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not like a career option anymore, I don't think.
Yeah, but in a way that puts you in a better position. You've got no sort of you've been number one in America. You don't have to do that anymore. You can just enjoy playing the music, right? So that's cool.
Take it for what it is. I do realize the world's not waiting for new EMF albums, and it's kind of just finding that level and the balance, and just understanding who we are to go out and do some gigs. Like, we're going off to America in a couple of months, and great opportunities come our way. Just accept that. That's good.
Yeah, and it must be more enjoyable when the pressure's off, right? You're just there enjoying playing gigs together. So that's why you should be in a band, really, isn't it? So,
yes, exactly. The desperation's kind of gone.
Yeah, doing it for the right reasons. Yeah.
So I think.
Can I ask quickly about Cooler? I didn't know you were in Cooler. The record behind me until I started researching. I really loved that when it came out. I mean, how did you get into that? Was that just that big beat sound? Was that like a logical progression from what you've been doing?
Yes, that was my first sort of project after EMF.
Oh, really?
And mine it was me and my friend Oliver Scherer, he's got a band at the moment that are making waves. They're called Air Cooled. I don't know if you've ever come across them. Keep an eye out. Really, Air Cooled. So yeah, it was me and Ollie. We were obviously really into that electronic breakbeat scene. It was the time when the Chemical Brothers were coming through, and that
Skin
kind of
Records.
stuff. Totally. Yeah. I was also playing with Bentley Rhythm Ace
Mm.
at that
Right.
Spin Records.
Already by then?
Yeah. So we did that record. Yes, there you go. Yeah.
Prepared.
And we did that record, and that record was actually made by Ralph Jesard, who made the last EMF album, and
there you go.
So yeah.
I just chipping in on Bentley Rhythm Ace. I went to Shine On last year, and that was a cool little set you did, wasn't it? Went down really. That's probably one of my highlights. I'm not just saying this. Probably one of my highlights of the weekend. Thought it's great.
It was brilliant, wasn't it? I love Shine so much.
It's good.
I'd overdone it the night before. And getting up on stage in front of 4,000 or 5,000 people.
Yeah, it was rammed, wasn't it? It was rammed. It was great.
Which is absolutely fine, but I could put shades and a hat on, but it's still
get to
have a massive 30-foot square screen on either side. I'm just going, Bruce, I don't need this in my life. But we're doing it again this year. Are you going to be there again? No.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
Good.
Uh,
Good.
Yeah, no, we're going to try and get the guys from Shine on to have a chat about the festival. So, yeah,
Oh, you should do it.
hopefully
They're
we'll be
lovely.
there.
You should speak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Yeah,
such a great. It's such a great festival, right? It's the first time I went this year, but yeah, I loved it.
enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it
Do
was
you
really
like
cool.
hanging out with do you like get together with old mates and stuff? Is it like a reunion?
Oh, totally. Last year was insane. There was this one point at the
Mm,
back of the bar, and I was with Richard from the Poppies and Bra and Bentley with Mace, and then I was looking
yeah,
around. I was like Miles, Jesus Jones, Neds
yeah,
Atomic. It was just like a
no, that's right.
who's who of old '90s pop stars. And
Yeah,
then I,
we
and
had
then I was, yeah, it's gone here.
we had Kermit from Black Grape on. He said the same thing. He said it's just, well, he can't remember a lot of it, but he said it was just a great
Oh,
time.
he was the problem. That was the reason I suffering the next day because of him.
That was his fault, was it?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it seems like you've pretty much you've just never stopped making music, right? Even like you say, you've got a day job as well, but you've never stopped. Is it just, I mean, is it a creative urge? I mean, what is it?
yeah, I mean, I did stop for a little while, and then I moved to Yorkshire, and I went back to university and did a degree,
Wow.
which, yeah, that was really good. It's one of the best things I did actually, just to get away from the music thing for a little bit.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then I kind of, when life settled a little bit, when the kids got a little bit older, I managed to get in here and I started doing some solo albums. It took me quite a while to work out how to make records. It was like a proper craft.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just working on the 8th solo album now. So
Eight.
yeah, I know. It's great. So yeah, obviously there must be something. I just love being creative and love making music, and just lucky to be able to do that. Um, and again, just doing it for my own enjoyment because, you know, I, it would be hard to make money from it, but that's not what you.
Yeah, but I mean, you say your own enjoyment. That's great. But I mean, I've seen a lot of your Facebook stuff. You get a lot of people join your lives and stuff, don't they? They love it. It's great. That's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's making the connection with the audience.
Yeah,
Like some
yeah,
things don't. Like if you just like do a video for a new song, that doesn't. But if you do like a live
yeah.
performance, it's a little bit off
Did
the
I
cuff.
see you dressed up as an Oompa Loompa the other week, or was I just imagining that?
Yeah, no, I did that. I've actually deleted those posts. I was thinking maybe it's not that cool being dressed as an Oompa Loompa, but
Yeah, that's all right, I think.
what have I got to lose in it? It's not going to affect my record sales, is it?
And you did all of those things in lockdown, right? Those Tonight Matthews. How did that come about?
Yeah, we did those. They were really good. Me and Richard sort of, I kind of called him up and says, look, why don't we do some online stuff? And then we went into our little phone books and we just called all our friends that we'd met over the last 30 years. So we got everybody involved.
Mhm.
Then we got even crazy people involved, like Rick Wakeman and Toya Wilcox and what's Lily
Yeah.
Allen's dad called? What's his name?
Oh, what is his name? The Vindaloo guy. What's his name?
We got
Yeah, Vindaloo guy.
we got stuff like
Yeah.
Steel Pulse, the bass player from Steel Pulse, and
Oh wow.
yeah, I know it's crazy, isn't it?
Do you have a
Yeah,
favorite one of those?
uh, we did Talking Heads,
Ah, Life
Love
During
June,
Wartime. Yeah.
and then we got our good friends Lindy Layton on that one.
Mm.
Mm. Oh yeah,
Buzztown,
she's lovely.
yeah, just like we had this guy. It was really good. There was like a core few people that I could call on, and I knew could actually do it and play properly. There was a guy called Athol, and he's a brass woodwind saxophone player, but he did like all the brass on Amy Winehouse, Back to Black, and stuff like that. And he was
Wow.
Right.
he was great. And then there was also Fran from Space who can play the keyboard really well. So you'd have these ideas, but can you put it together? But you just send it to these people because they're such great musicians, they'd be able to play it. And So
Yeah.
it was nice. It was really good, and keeping the connection going with people whilst everyone wasn't playing. You know,
Yeah, they were a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier, but you just announced some co-headline shows with Jesus Jones. What do people need to know about those?
they're in October. One's in Bristol, one's in London, and one's in Manchester.
Mm.
I can't remember the dates.
Mm.
That's all right.
Good enough. Good enough. That's an interesting idea, right? That's a kind of a new thing, isn't it? Like two kind of big bands from kind of back in the day doing this. I saw Suede and the Manics here in Tokyo last year on a co-headliner,
Mm.
and it was incredible. It was great. It's a good concept, right?
I think it's a really good as a concept. It gives people value for money, doesn't it? And shifts a few more tickets. Maybe
Yeah.
fans can do it now because their egos aren't so big, and they
Hmm.
just can.
Yeah. You know, a lot. I think like we were saying before, I think that has a lot to do with it, right? You've got nothing to prove anymore. You've already proved it. You've
I
been
know. I
number
suspect
one.
Nicky Wire's ego is still pretty large.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, fans are notoriously competitive, aren't they? And
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, yeah.
But like the bands that you kind of tour with, they're just they're your mates anyway, aren't they? You just go out and have a good crack.
They are my mates. I mean, some of them are my closest friends.
Yeah.
I guess it's just a common interest, and you've got similar lives, haven't you? I mean, I haven't really got any friends back at school, and they all seem to be in that kind of music and stuff. All my closest friends. So yeah,
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Neil, do you want to ask the question we ask all the guests?
Okay, yeah. So we ask every guest on our show, if you could have been in any other band from that sort of era, who would it have been and why?
I love the Beastie Boys. I would love to have been a Beastie Boy.
Good answer.
Let's have a look.
Who's the best Beastie Boy?
Hey,
Who's the
who's
best
got-
Beastie Boy?
I guess Ad Rock,
Mm.
Diamonds. They're all great.
Yeah, I can see you in the
They're all
Beastie
great.
Boys, actually.
Yeah.
I can see you in the
Yeah.
Beastie Boys.
I would have loved to have been in New Order or something like that. That would
Yeah,
have been good.
that's cool.
I think.
Do like a bit of New Order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's pretty much it. I mean, where can people find you online, or is there anything else you wanna plug? Is there a third comeback album in the works?
Yeah, there will be. It's just we've only just released this last one, so I think we need a little bit of a break. So we're going to carry on promoting this record. We're going to bring out hopefully some more singles off it. Obviously going to get out there and do some touring. We've got a few festivals, which is nice. Those Jesus Jones dates. And
Which festivals are you doing?
with Benny Rhythm Ace, we're doing Bearded Theory.
Mm.
Festival. There is some EMF ones which I can't quite remember the name of. I'm pretty self-promotion thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's all right.
So yeah, but there's a handful of festival shows. There's some nice bits, like we're going off to play America in June, which is nice. We haven't done that for quite a while.
Yeah.
And hopefully some other opportunities will come up like that.
Oh, and the Facebook page is the best place to hang out.
What are you doing
find out?
So guys,
the Facebook page, is that the best place to hang out and find out what you're up to?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I've got my own personal Facebook. There is an EMF Facebook page as well. Yeah, just I'm kind of active on social media.
Good.
What are you doing? What's going on at Shine On this year then? Which group are you playing?
We're going to take Benny with a Mouse.
Nice.
Because, well, when I spoke to James and Steve, they had this idea. They want to do a Saturday afternoon rave. They're crazy. I was thinking Bentley Rhythm Ace is going to be more suited to that. So I think they've got us. They've got Utah Saints. They've got the Freestylers. That sounds a wild Saturday afternoon. That does.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds really good.
give it everything Saturday afternoon, and then go to bed.
Yeah, of course you will.
Yeah.
Say hello to there though. Catch me early.
So there we go. James Atkin from EMF. What a lovely guy, isn't he? He's a really nice
I think he's a
guy.
contender for the loveliest so far.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Not
No.
being horrible to the rest. He was pretty lovely.
Come on.
I mean, we've had
Who's
some
lovelier?
lovely ones. Yeah, who was lovelier? He can't think of one.
Eh?
Can you?
No.
All right, he was there.
He's up there. He's definitely up there.
He's definitely up there. Yeah, really nice guy. Really down to earth. It sounds like he's just really enjoying life at the moment.
Yeah. He's got a river in his back garden. It's all right, isn't it?
Got a river in the garden. He's got sitting in a fucking studio. I mean,
Yeah.
life's
The
pretty
sun
good.
was
isn't it?
streaming in. Yeah.
Yeah. Kids
Idyllic.
playing out in the garden.
But then he said they were 16 and 18.
Wow.
So,
That's nice, though. That's quite nice. I mean, I still play in the garden.
yeah.
Mine,
There
so
you go.
Have you still got your trampoline?
no, retired.
He has got a swing. He does put a hammock up in the summer
He
months.
does.
Have you got your hammock
Yeah,
up
yeah.
yet?
It's not a hammock; it's a swing seat.
Sorry.
That told you, Neil. It's a fucking hammer.
Stephen Fry.
Who knew?
I just always an EMF fan.
Yeah.
I mean, why not, I guess. If Axl Rose can be a fan, then why can't Stephen Fry?
Sure. They're very similar.
But I like that song. It is good. So yeah, we've already discussed the name EMF. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm sticking with my original, well, the song's version of what it means. You're going with ecstasy, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going with what it is.
Boring.
Well,
That's why, right? I mean, it's a stupid name, but EMF is a cool name. So
That's true.
it kind of explains itself.
Yeah. Apparently it's taken from something to do with New Order, the Epsom Mad Funkers.
Is it? Why?
Apparently some journalists called like New Order fans or like the New Order fan club like Epsom Mad Funkers for some reason. And they took it from that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Can't remember the
that-
details, but it's something like that.
That leads me on to my next point. We haven't really spoken about New Order much on this, have we? Because I guess
No.
they were 90s.
We don't really think of them as 90s, do we? But
No,
But
but
they
they
were,
weren't
totally
they?
were.
They were sort of late 80s, early 90s was their peak, wasn't it? Well, they did the theme tune for the World Cup 90, didn't they?
Go on,
Yeah.
do it, Neil. Do it.
World Emotion.
Do
I
the-
do know the
do the
John
rap.
Barnes rap.
Go on, do it.
We'll do a bit each.
I don't know it as well as you.
It starts off with you've got to hold and give, but do it at the right time. Dave,
don't move slow or fast because you could get to the line.
Luke,
Don't know.
they'll always hit you and hurt you. Defend and attack. Dave,
There's only one way to beat them. Get round the back.
Luke.
I really
I don't
can't
know
rap.
it. I don't know it.
What is it?
No, that's enough. That's enough. I think people get the gist. Luke, can't believe you don't know the World Emotion rap.
I
Yeah,
don't.
I saw New Order in recent years at Ali Pali.
They're not all together anymore, are they? Hookie's left.
Maybe he was just playing hooky
Maybe.
for a while.
Good one. But yeah, we haven't really spoken about them or electronic, or big part of the early 90s scene. But yeah, New Order especially, like groundbreaking with the Blue Monday and all that sort of thing.
Because that was in the 80s, though, wasn't it?
That was
yeah.
late 80s, yeah. But yeah, he said how they were a huge influence on him. Yeah, and yeah, obviously so. Like that, they did the whole dance rock crossover, didn't they? That was their thing, really.
Yeah.
To go from Joy Division to New Order.
Yeah. Is Blue Monday still the best-selling 12-inch of all time? Is that right?
It's got to be in it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be any new ones.
It's got to still feature in a lot of DJ sets, hasn't it?
Well, that story that he told about going to Bernard Sumner's birthday party. That's a pretty good anecdote,
that was
right?
good.
Yeah, and your idea for the supergroup was good.
Yeah. Bernard, Neil Tennant, James and Derry from EMF, and the guy from Kraftwerk, he said, right? Bartok, is that his Bartos? Carl Bartos, that's his name.
That would have been good, wouldn't it?
It would have been cool, yeah.
But speaking of supergroups, I didn't know till the interview anything about that Tonight Matthew thing.
Oh yeah,
No, I
videos
didn't
yeah.
know
they did in
about that.
lockdown.
No,
I was
till
watching them.
Yeah.
They were just, I was amazed at how good they were.
Was it a bit like when Gary Barlow did his thing in lockdown? They were fucking awful. Did you see any of those, Luke? These crooner sessions.
Oh God, fortunately not. No,
It's
sounds hideous.
bloody awful.
No, these were quality, and I don't understand how they can be so good when they're all separate, you know, recording on Zoom or whatever.
It's pretty.
Oh.
You can do it pretty well these days.
Mm.
Yeah, they are good. If people haven't seen them, get on to. They're on YouTube, right?
Yeah, and each one is a different supergroup.
Yeah, but that was a good story about the Bernard Sumner story. I like the fact he said that at one point Bernard Sumner said, "Oh, I was explaining to him who he was and how he." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." He did also mention that he was a bit of a goth back in the day, which is always good for me. I really wish I'd got more in, actually done it properly.
How far would you have gone? Black nail varnish,
Yeah, I'd love to have done all of that. I did.
fangs,
I know. I wouldn't have gone that far. I would have done
Cape.
the eyeliner, nail varnish.
cape. Would you have worn a cape to school? Would you have worn like a Dracula cape to school?
Who wears a cape?
Real
What are you talking
goths.
about? That's a vampire. That's not a god.
Ah, right. Okay.
But I wouldn't like to do it in the summer though. I wouldn't have been a die-hard gother because I wouldn't want to walk around in a coat in the summer. But yeah, he said he's a bit of a goth at one point. He doesn't really look like one either though, so that's all right.
I thought it was really interesting that he said that he didn't enjoy being famous. It was like was similar to Crispin from Daisy Chainsaw, right? Didn't seem to enjoy that side of it much. It's surprising, but yeah, it's interesting. I totally get it. Like
so
just the idea of
stressful.
just having everyone look
every day.
Neil, do you enjoy that? Being centre of attention.
I always did want to be famous.
Right. Yeah.
But you know,
when you were on stage with Main Street, were you gurning and?
Yeah, I did. Like I put my foot on the monitor and stuff. Did all that.
Got to be done.
Yeah, I did. You know, I did want some fame at one point, but I guess unless you are actually famous, you don't really know what it's like, do you? You can imagine what it's like, but you don't. You wouldn't really know until you did it. Then you can't go, "Oh, I don't like this. I don't want to do it anymore."
But it's interesting that he said he kind of regretted it and he should have just gone with it and enjoyed himself.
They're showcasing in their hometown instead of London. Because I remember when we spoke to Ed from Smash and they had theirs in that youth club when they signed their record deal in their local, not youth club, town.
Yeah, it was a youth club. Yeah.
Was it a youth club?
Youth club. Yeah.
I like that. Making them come to you.
Yeah. And like you said in the interview to James, it's the best way to see them, right? Because you're seeing them in their natural environment. There's no point in bringing them up to a sterile showcase in front of a bunch of suits because you're not going to learn anything about them, right? You need to see them in their crowd.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, doesn't it? Because you see, you get the whole vibe and why people are into it and stuff, which you wouldn't get if you just took them down to some studio in London somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not the same
pointless.
thing.
Oh, platinum discs.
Oh, I like that. I didn't know it was a million.
I had to fact check him when you asked him how many do you have to sell.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a million.
And he's absolutely right, 1 million. But that is actually the US.
Oh, wow.
Is it different here?
Yeah.
How many here? Because Main Street might have gone platinum. If
you might not know.
It depends. Yeah, well, let's see. Yeah, platinum in the UK albums, 300,000.
Oh,
not
silver, 60,000. So you might have got a silver.
What were Main Street's kind of net sales overall, Neil?
Oh, I didn't really keep track of them. So,
but about.
Well, it could be between that, and something else.
That and, I mean, are we talking over 10?
It's hard to get, and you shouldn't really just judge on album sales anyway.
No, you're right.
Paper disc. I think if you sell 10, you get a paper disc.
Did
you sell more than 10? I mean, sold to people you don't know.
No, I haven't checked the figures this last couple of months. We might have had a resurgence.
Yeah.
Interest from
you mean a surgeon?
Yeah, one of those.
Yes. not a re.
But yeah, I didn't know it was 1 million. That's a lot, isn't it?
And
That is
then
a lot.
if you're multi-platinum, 2 million, and then you get another one for each million.
Right.
Wow, that is a lot, isn't it?
So they went platinum in America, right?
That's what you said, I think.
Did
Yeah,
they
if you got a
go
platinum disc,
multi-plat?
you must have done.
I mean, that is 1 million records. That's a fucking shitload, isn't it?
Although leading on from that, he talked quite a lot about the kind of financial side of things, which I thought you would enjoy, Dave. So he said
Oh,
he
yeah.
was, he was kind of, it's obviously not enough to retire on, right?
But he said if he had 2 or 3 more, he could.
He did
Yeah.
say that.
Yeah.
I think to retire, you need about £500,000. But that's a real meagre retirement.
For you. For
That's
some manor
not
over there.
lavish retirement at all.
It's got to keep you in cheese and whatever, grapes or whatever you buy.
We don't know, do we? It must still be bringing in some money each year.
Yeah, of course. Again, how much of that do they get? We don't know.
I guess it's a nice little thing to have, bringing you in a little bit of money each year.
But I was struck, like he said, like at the moment, they make just enough to kind of pay for their own costs. And he says, you can't
lose money on tours.
Can't ask for much more than that. But I think you should ask for much more than that. You should expect to make money from doing that hard work, right? And putting that amazing creative shit out into the world. You shouldn't just be happy with breaking even. It should pay. Creativity should pay.
You live in a utopia where everyone gets paid the right amount
of
money.
No, people used to. It's just everything's been valued by neoliberalism. It's fucked.
It's really difficult. Yeah, it is difficult because it's like when people talk about venues and stuff and ticket prices and that, but they have to pay more money to run venues now, so it all goes up. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's not right.
Many a Main Street gig we lost money.
Yeah,
we had to pay to play. We did that a few times. You should never do that if you're in a band. You should never pay to play.
Yeah,
but we did do that a few times, which is ridiculous, right? We went and basically paid to play our own gig.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I like the image of him being shown around the empty hacienda with Noel Gallagher. Just them being mates, really. Really thought,
and the fact that they were mates because of the spiral carpets rather than because of Oasis, right?
Yeah, but we should have asked. Why didn't we ask him what Noel was like?
Yeah,
we could have found out.
There'd be other opportunities. Don't worry.
I always think it's quite interesting. Obviously, there's been a lot of these 90s bands. There has been a bit of a resurgence in recent years just because of technology and stuff, right? And I do just think that the reason a lot of them sort of ceased to exist back then is just because if you didn't have a record label, that was it. That was your only route into releasing music. You couldn't do it yourself. So you had no choice but to break up or carry on playing to no one and releasing nothing.
Yeah. I mean, a few bands did set up their own labels, but yeah, basically, yeah.
Well, yeah, you could set up your own label, I guess, yeah, but that costs money much more back then than it would do now, I would have thought.
Yeah. Especially at the level they were at, which is you need to press, a lot more than an indie label.
I do like this conversation because everyone bangs on about how Spotify and everything else has killed music and stuff, but I think you could look at it another way. Bands have been able to release music that they wouldn't have been able to release before. Like a lot of these bands have come back because they're now able to reach an audience. Maybe Spotify is a bad example, but stuff like Facebook and that, they can reach their audience through social media, which they could never do before. And that's like new technology, right?
Yeah, but Spotify should still pay them properly.
Yeah, I know. That's why I've backtracked on Spotify, because I could see you getting annoyed.
I was. It doesn't excuse their outrageous behaviour.
No, maybe that is a bad example, but I'm just saying a lot of this new technology, you can moan about it, bitch and moan about it and stuff, but some of it has enabled bands to do stuff that they wouldn't have done. And a lot of these bands we'd never have heard from again,
I think there's a problem, though, because in the 90s, maybe it was a bit unfair, the record companies, and maybe it was hard for some unsigned bands. But as a consumer, you had this massive sorting hat between the signed and the unsigned, and you got these two tiers, and it just made it easier to find music.
That's true. That's true.
Now it's just, like he said, it's just saturated. He said that, James.
I don't think it's good for new bands necessarily. Well, it is because of the reasons I've already said, but for bands like EMF and like legacy bands, I don't like that word, but you know what I mean. It's great because you can just reach your old audience and start releasing music again.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and like you said, that the whole of the Go-Go Sapiens album was recorded in that room he was speaking to us from, right?
Yeah.
Just being able to do that yourself.
I guess what the point I'm trying to make is a lot of the new technology is a positive thing for music, although a lot of it maybe isn't.
Yeah.
Luke's not convinced.
Well, I just don't. You can have both, right? You can have both. They can record it in their own thing using technology and get it out to their fans on Facebook, but they should still expect to make a shitload of profit from it because they're doing something beautiful and putting it out into the world and people are buying it. They should expect to and listening to it. They should expect to make money, and they deserve to make money from it. You know.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention about the David Bowie story. So his wife was saying, he said like his wife just couldn't be bothered to talk to David Bowie. Another stuff. But you got to think about, I was thinking about it though, because like this was when he wasn't cool, right? So Bowie from like the mid 80s till like late 90s, maybe even like mid 2000s even, he was like not considered cool at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool until he did Dancing on the Streets.
Dancing in the street.
Dancing in the streets. That was it after that.
I think it was good as well. He just wasn't, he was just irrelevant for a while. It wasn't that he was like not cool or anything. He was just irrelevant.
Have you seen that clip of him in the early 90s predicting the internet?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, he was always brilliant. Cool as fuck. Yeah.
He was just spot on, wasn't it? Yeah. And there's no way he could have known. That was just a prediction.
Oh well, no, he had his finger on the pulse. He wasn't.
If
he
anyone
wasn't
hasn't
just
seen it,
he knew his stuff.
You go and look it up because he basically predicts the internet 10 years before it happened. Exactly what it would do to music and stuff.
Oh, yeah. He never stopped being cool. He just kind of, he just was out of the public consciousness for ages. It wasn't resurrected until like 2010 almost. I think it was.
Yeah, you're right.
And then suddenly it was like everyone pretended they'd always loved him. He'd always been cool, but he wasn't.
I mean, Main Street wouldn't have supported him either.
No.
Luke, you've been to a co-headline gig.
Yes.
Do you think these are maybe a thing of the future?
I think
it only really works for like legacy bands, though, doesn't it? It doesn't work for bands that are competing with each other, does it?
No. It might do if you're part of the same similar scene, you're kind of supporting each other.
How does it work? One night, someone headlines, and the next.
That's how they did it in Tokyo.
Do you know? But do you know which one's going to headline?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make work then, does it? Because if you know anyway, then they're just headlining.
So?
It's not really a co-headline thing, is it?
Yeah, whoever's on last is the headliner.
Yeah, but
that's
turns.
The same for any gig.
Oh, they take turns on the tour.
They played 2 dates in Tokyo, right? So I saw Mannix and Suede. They played 2 dates in Tokyo. First night, Suede were headlining. Second night, the Mannix. But they also sell, like, a lot of people went to both, right? They sold like a double package. So a lot of people went to both so they could see both headline.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it'd be I think it'd be better
great
if you didn't know who was headlining.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Whatever. If you like both bands, right?
That's my idea.
And they've both got their own set of fans, and there's some overlap, but not a complete overlap, right? Which is where you get like extra sales, but not like completely double sales. It's perfect. It was perfect, and I think that'd be a great gig, right? Jesus Jones and EMF.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have something like the Lighthouse Family and the Manic Street Preachers, could you? That wouldn't really work.
No, Lighthouse Family and like Napalm Death, dual headline.
That would work.
That'd be brilliant.
It'd be good. It'd be good if they covered each other's songs and Lighthouse Family did a cover of You Suffer. That would be cool.
And then Napalm Death did Lifted.
Yes, that would be good.
If we can make this happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for this one. Thanks so much to James for coming on. If you have enjoyed this one, please do give it a thumbs up if you're watching, and leave a comment below. Let us know your favourite EMF tracks, albums. Have you seen them live? Get involved in the comments below. And if you're watching them, please do rate and review this podcast, because it really does help other people find it, which is might be what's happening, or it might be like Dave says, people accidentally downloading the podcast. But we like to think that more people are finding it. So rate, review, it really does help us out. I have noticed that we're getting more ratings and reviews on the podcast, so it does work. So please do keep doing that. Do appreciate it.
And if you're new or relatively new to the podcast, don't forget to dig into the archives. So bands that James mentioned, Jesus Jones, Pop Will Eat Itself, have both been on the podcast. So if you haven't listened, go back and have a listen to those episodes. They're really good. Dig into the archives.
Luke, mixtape for
Mixtape.
Spotify, your favorite platform to share music on.
Yeah, unfortunately no Cooler on there, but yeah, loads of EMF, of course. Jesus Jones, New Order, Talking Heads,
Napalm Death.
Okay, I'm gonna make a note.
And
do you know,
Lighthouse Family.
If I was on Desert Island Discs, I would definitely choose that You Suffer by Napalm Death as one of my 8 songs to take to the island.
You're a Desert Island dick.
Good one, Neil.
It was quite good.
So all that's left is for Dave to finish this off.
See you in a minute.